Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my photo chat live, or I'm sorry, photo editing live stream where we submit your images before the stream starts and I edit them here for you live using DxO Photolab. And I just downloaded 9.6.1 yesterday, so hopefully everything works out too well. I did edit a couple images, my own, and it seemed to be fine, but we'll see. And good to see everyone here. I see Paul. You're going to be in the air. Yep. We're going to get together. I think on Wednesday. Wednesday morning's looking pretty good right now. I was able to reschedule my Wednesday morning appointment, so I think we can get together Wednesday. He's flying in from somewhere, and we're going to meet in D.C. and do a morning photo walk. And it's probably be a little busy because the cherry blossoms are out right now, and they're going to be peak bloom April 1st. So we'll see. And John, good to see you. Jeff and Tom, Larry, Adrian, good to see everyone, and Dan. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And for those of you that might be new to the stream, this is basically to show you the tools in Photolab 9.6 using your photos. So if you have any questions about anything I'm doing here, every 2 or 3 images, I like to stop and just answer any questions I see in the chat section. And I have a lot of images today to go through, 19 right now. And also, I'm an affiliate for DxO, so if you're new to DxO, you can download, use my affiliate link down below to download a copy or purchase a copy, and there's a 15% discount code. Just use my coupon code RobTrek. So all that looks good. So of course, hold on. My loop deck is not, it's always something in every live stream. Let's see if just plugging it, unplugging it does the trick. I don't know. Abhinav, good to see you. Robert, good to see you come in. Jeff. And audio, oh, thanks for the audio video check. Oh, seriously, this is really hard to do without my loop deck. It's just not coming online. Well, we'll have to do it today without the loop deck. So let me do one more thing. Sometimes if I open up the loop deck software, it'll activate it. And I got nothing. It's always something. Okay, let me see. Oh, perfect. Okay, it is working now. Good. All right. Oh, and let me just adjust the screen so the fonts are a little bit larger, and we'll get started. That way it'll be easier for you guys to see the sliders and things that I'm adjusting. Okay, I think we're good. So we'll go ahead and start here. And, this is not a critique or a contest. This is simply to edit using your photos, see my editing workflow, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you that are using DxO Photolab now or considering using it. You can see what it can do. So that said, really nice bird shot here. And first thing I do, and I'm going to try, we have a lot of images today, so I'm going to go a little faster or try to go faster. But first thing I do is I always look at the overall composition, exposure, and any kind of geometry when I look at an image initially before I start editing. So, if I need to brighten it or darken it on a global scale, You know, this image is not underexposed by any means, so it looks like we're good. There's no geometry to worry about, no architecture, no horizons that I have to straighten. And the overall composition, you filled the frame pretty well with the subject. So I might do just a little bit of a crop, but I think overall it's looking really good. So, and then I also look over here at the thumbnail to see if there's a green arrow. So for example, like this one has a green arrow on it. That means I have to download the optics module to optimize the sharpening and other, you know, lens corrections. You know, that is one of their key technologies in DxO Photolab. And just a quick scan of all the thumbnails, I can see that everything that was submitted today is supported by DxO. So with all that said, let's go ahead and I'm going to apply a basic preset. And what this does is I've kind of optimized it to my personal taste, but it basically applies noise reduction and optical corrections and just a tiny bit of sharpening on the lens. So I can make that a preset available to you guys for free if you want, but for now let's keep going. So I'm just going to crop in a little bit, I think, just to kind of fill the frame a little bit more with the subject. And I'm going to balance it so he's looking more into the frame, a little bit of negative space to the right, maybe a little bit down. And I try to keep the spacing, like, you know, around the subject pretty even on these three sides, because I want to leave a little extra over here. Okay. All right, and then with animals, it's typically birds. I do eyes, beaks, and talons, right? I like to make sure that those are very clear. And in this case, looks like the eyes and beak, we can definitely do some work. And the talons blend in here, so not much to do there. And also, I like the subject to be a little brighter than the background, if I can. Now, in this case, we have basically a black bird against, you know, a green background. So I'm not going to try to do too much there. I like the contrast. But I will work on the eyes here. Let's just start there. So I'm going to use a control point. And for eyes, I like to just stand out a little bit more. So I usually use a control point a little larger than the eye itself to kind of go around. And one of my goals is to make the eye look a little bit shinier, but also to try to bring out any color in the iris if there is any. So we'll just do that. Yep, there is a little bit of an iris in there, so I'm going to try and brighten that up. And I'm going to move the control point closer to where the brownish part of the iris is. Maybe tighten up the chroma mask just a tad. Doesn't look like it's making much difference here. And then let's add some clear view to make it shiny. And then a little micro contrast, just to bring out some of the details. And then let's go to the beak. And actually for the beak, what I like to do now is use this auto masking brush. It's so much better now. We'll create a new mask. Now that we're in version 9, it actually does a better job at masking. I think it's incorporating partially some AI. So we'll just brighten that up a bit, add some clear view and some micro contrast. Pretty much the same thing. And then let's do a little bit on the talons. The talons don't need much because there's hardly any of it there showing. And since I didn't create a new mask for the auto brush, it's basically going to apply the same settings I applied to the beak to the talons. And I think that's pretty good there. All right, so let me go ahead and I think all I need to do is just add a little bit of a vignette to this. And if you don't have Film Pack installed, which is another DxO product, it's very easy to add a vignette. Oops, I need to make a new mask. There we go. It's easy to add a vignette just using a control point. So you just select somewhere where you want to have the vignette. I invert the mask, and then I set the chroma and luma down to 0. And you can feather this if you want, but generally I found it works well if you just set it to 0. And then rather than pulling the exposure like this, because the vignette might be a little bit obvious, even if I just do a little bit, what I like to do is use the selective tone and just kind of draw a line, you know, connect the dots and draw a line here, like that. And I think that makes for a more natural looking sort of vignette without making it look like we artificially added one. Okay, and then I do want to add a little bit of brightness to the bird. Let me see if I can pull the background in just a bit more. And then I'm going to make a new mask, and I'm going to use the AI tool. Typically, just using the pointer works pretty well. So I'm going to point the mask over here. And over here we have the pointer, a negative pointer to subtract, and then a box tool to select things using a sort of a rectangle. And then we have the subject. I don't normally use the predefined mask like subject, background, and stuff. I found it's just faster to use the pointer. Okay, and the pointer does a great job. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little bit of vibrancy to bring out any color the bird might have in its feathers. And let's just hit a tad of micro contrast and maybe a little bit in the midtones and highlights. It doesn't need much in the highlights. Just a little bit there in the midtones. Okay, and then I'm just going to zoom in to just check the fine details. Now, I don't have to use the loop tool because I enabled, what is it called? View. I forget where it is. I think it's in preferences. I enabled, let's see, display, enable high quality preview, and also I enabled deep prime rendering. So my computer can handle this because I have a pretty high spec computer, even though it is going on 3 years old now. It was the best I could afford at the time. And then, so that I found that I didn't really see any performance ding in applying those settings. If you are seeing very slow rendering and things, then it's better to deactivate those and then use the loop tool, which will create a little box. So I'll show you this loop tool. So the loop tool will give you a little better perspective and apply those changes. So in this case, I can use the loop tool just to kind of go into the fine details. So I'm going to go over here to the, let's see, this is the detail panel. And I'm going to slide the unsharp mask intensity. And it's set to 0.5 pixels. I like to do it this way. I start with a very, very small pixel like 0.5, and then I just increase the intensity. And if I need to, I can increase the radius just a tad. Because if I do this too much, it's going to start to look too crispy, right? So I usually like to do intensity first, and that usually gets me where I want to be. But if the image is very soft, I'll increase the radius just a tiny bit. Maybe about there. Okay. And that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and do a side-by-side of the before and after. Now, I can compare it. This is the unedited version here on the left, and I have selections. I can do it with the geometry or without. So if I do without, it'll show me the full image, you know, before I did the crop. But I typically like to just compare it with the geometry applied, because what this allows me to do is also do a split view, and then I can zoom in and see the difference between the before and after. So I probably over sharpened just a tiny bit. But I think when you kind of zoom out, that I don't know why this cut off. That is a little bit weird, isn't it? I'll try and pay attention. Maybe the battery is low. It shouldn't be. I took it right out of the charger, so it should be fine. But I'm seeing a red light on this thing. I don't know why. I've never seen that before. And I don't have another mic. I lost the other one. But anyway, we'll see how this goes. All right. Let me just check. Yep. All right. Ooh, that's hot. It's way, way, way too hot. Let me see. All right. How's that? This is pretty good, right? How about right here? That's a little bit hot, but let's go with this. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know why the battery didn't charge. I took it right out of the charger. So anyway, there's the before and after. I warmed up the image in case you guys didn't see it or didn't hear me. That's all I was doing. All right, let's go to the next one. And I'm going to hit the F9 key to bring the panels out. And okay, so for this one, again, we have a very good exposure. So I'm going to just apply a basic preset, which again is noise reduction and optical corrections. I'm going to do probably let me see, I think a vertical crop might be best. And my composition is pretty straightforward. I just used the rule of thirds to try to balance things. Let me see. I think going a little bit tighter. Okay, that feels pretty good because we have a nice clean shot here. So what I'm going to do is just temper the background a bit because there's a pretty bright spot here. So let me do that. I'm going to go over here. And let's just use the AI tool. And this time I'll show you the select background. Cross our fingers, things don't crash. All right, very good. It's been really stable since 9.6. So I'm pretty happy with that. And let's just feather that just a bit. Okay. And I'm just going to pull the highlights in first. And then we'll add the midtones. And again, it's kind of like connect the dots. I like to have a straight line here, if I can. I think that looks the most natural. Okay, maybe we don't need the diffusion. Just a tiny bit. All right. Now let's go ahead to the eyes. And I'm going to go ahead and just come in nice and tight there. I don't think we need any brightening. We just need a little bit of shiny on it. And then let's temper the highlights here. So I'm going to move my control point to a bright part and then crank up the Luma mask just a tiny bit. Whoops. And then let's just pull the highlights in a tiny bit. There we go. And now I'm going to go back to the color. Let's add a little bit more warmth here. And a lot of the choices, I should say, are definitely subjective, right, that I'm making here, like particularly white balance. That might be just a tad too warm, maybe just right there. And then I'm going to add some vibrancy. Maybe go back to the eye. And I'm going to just, let me go here to the eye. Just add a little bit of push here in the shadow. And then the beak doesn't need much. I'm just going to give it a little bit of shine as well, and micro contrast. Okay, so I'm going to hit the F9 key to push the panels, and then we'll do a side by side. And that's the before and after. And I think it did a nice job. So let's go ahead and just look at the fine details. Yeah, I think it did a really, really nice job there. I didn't have to do any additional sharpening. This is a great shot in terms of the sharp. Oh, it's a 300 f4. That's why. That's a great lens. All right, very good. Thank you, William. Very nice shot there. Oh, look at this eagle in all this ice. That is awesome. All right, so let's apply basic preset. And we're definitely gonna have to temper a little bit on the background. And I think we can just crop a little bit. I don't want to crop too much. I like the environment that this eagle is in. I'm just gonna balance him this way. Let me get that corner. And I'm always conscious of my corners when I'm cropping. I like them to be relatively I like the continuity, right? See, like this top right corner, there's a little bit of ice peeking in. Again, this is subjective, but I kind of like to make sure that I don't have corners like that. And then I'm just, again, simple rule of thirds for composition, and I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so we do need to warm this image up just a tad. I do like the cooler white balance. But let's just pick a white part on the eagle. And that added another 4,000 Kelvin, but I'm going to back this off a little bit because I do like the cooler colors. All right, very good. Now, Let's go ahead and do some local adjustments. So again, eyes, beak, talons, right? So let me start with the eye. Oops. And we'll just come in nice and tight there. Now I want to make sure the control point is on the colored part of the iris if it's visible. I'll add a little brightening there and some micro contrast. And I'm just going to just warm up the eye just a little bit because I know the eye is kind of yellow. Maybe even push the saturation a bit. Okay. And then let's make a new mask for the beak. And let's just add some micro contrast here. Okay, and then I think I can probably use the same mask for the talons in here. Yep, very good. Okay, I'm going to hit the escape key just to deactivate that masking brush. Now I'm just going to check the fine details. Feathers can be a little tricky because sometimes they look really smooth, and they are in real life very smooth. Well, let's go to the detail panel. Actually, let me go ahead and select the bird first. So let's make a new mask. Let's select the bird. And let's go down here for the mask. And let's just add a little sharpening. So let me zoom in while that's doing that. And I can back off some of this D prime X D3 just a little bit just on the subject. Okay, good. All right, let's temper the highlights a little bit. Not too much. I do like the dynamic range, but I'm just going to temper just a hair, just so we can see a little bit more feather detail. Like that. And let me tighten up the luma just a little bit. Okay, good. Now I can pull and just so you can see the mask, you know, when I'm tightening up the luma, wherever I drop the control point, it's going to try and just stay within that range in luminosity. So I think right there, as opposed to like if I pull it all the way back, you know, it's going to select more. But I just want to grab the highlights. So I think right about there is good. Okay, and then let me go back to the bird that I selected, and let's just do maybe a little bit in the shadows. Oh, let me turn off the mask. There we go. And maybe a little bit of clear view. And micro contrast, just a touch. Okay, I'm going to try and bring out some of the textures in the ice and the rocks. And I'll just use control points for that. Something like that. And just do micro contrast. Just a little bit there. Let me turn off the mask. I'm sorry. There we go. And then some down here. And a little bit up there. And then down in this corner. And then I'm going to, let's do one more mask right up here and just pull the highlights in a bit. Maybe some clear view. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll do the same things kind of in the corners. Okay. All right. Really would like that eagle to stand out a little bit more. Let me go back to the eagle mask. What if we just push the midtones and give a little vibrancy to all colors? Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's do a side by side. I'm going to compare it with geometry. I'm going to hit the F9 key. And there you have it. So let me show you without the geometry, because I do want to sort of come back to my corners, right? I feel, you know, this corner just kind of bothered me. So I think it's just a little nicer without having a layered corner. And then just warming it up slightly because the image is a bit cool. And then we can go in and just use a slider and just check the fine details here. Yeah, I think it's just about perfect. Okay, very good. All right, let me take a second here to just look at the chat section and see if there are any questions. Getting too popular, yeah. I just have to work faster. And good evening, Bamson. Good to see you. And good morning, John. Ethan, always good to see you. I did see your image. You submitted one today, so that's awesome. It was a pretty cool image. Oh, hey, Robert, how are you? Good to see you. And Yukon Chris, always good to see you from Canada. Nice. Oh, snowing and wind. It's warm here today, so I just have a t-shirt and an overshirt on. And then Roger said, just wondering if you could post a PDF file on what typical workflow would be using DxO. Sometimes we can have a lot in front of us. I may make a video. I have an older one for Photolab 6. I made a video showing my workflow. I'll have to update it because there have been some significant changes since Photolab 6, but the general workflow should still apply. So if you search my channel for editing workflow for beginners in DxO, you'll see that. That'll be a good primer, but I'll try and make a video to update my workflow. And XMed is here. Good to see you. And let's see. Yep, the preset to use would be really useful. Okay, I can share that. I'll make it a post on my community page. Okay, and Rob, can you skip mine today? Or you can skip mine today. I sent the raw and then the edit in. It looks like sending in second picture overwrites the first. You're only showing my edit in the list to do. Ah, okay. Sorry about that. If I come across it, I'll look at it. I'm not sure which one it is. If you have 7-zip, you can run the performance test for a minute. It will show the hardware raw power and MIPS so we can compare and have an idea about the PC. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't have 7-zip. I don't think. And I don't want to risk running a performance test during a live stream. I have enough issues even just with audio. Uh, but what I'll do is I'll post it in a community tab, okay? A screenshot after the stream is done. So I may have to download 7-zip, and I'll do that together with the presets that I use. All right, and Shri is here. Good to see you, Shri. Thanks for sending the photos of the cherry blossoms. I may be going back out April 1st in the morning, so keep an eye out for that. I'm so tired of editing these days. I'm just shooting JPEG. Yeah, I understand that. Editing can be time consuming. Eagle taken in Alaska. Okay, wow, nice. And looks clean. Love the edit on the eagle. Thanks. And the shot was super sharp out of camera. And Shri says you can ignore mine too. Okay. Well, if I still have the energy after, I get through these. I don't know what order these are in. I think they're sorted by file name. But anyway, wow, look at this. Look at this shot. This is awesome. I love this gnarly tree that these cormorants are on. So composition-wise, I do see I'm going to try and get rid of this, maybe just in a crop. But let's go ahead and apply a basic preset. And then I'm going to just crop that part out a little. And then as far as my corners go, like I said, I like a little continuity. I don't like gaps or layers in my corners. I'm wondering if a vertical might be better. Let's do, of course, we're losing this awesome tree here. Let me just eyeball this. Yeah, no, I want to keep this entire tree in the frame. I like this tree. I'm a big fan of trees in general. But I think a crop right about there. Maybe give it a little more breathing room. This corner is a little bit too much of a gap. See if I can balance that. Yeah, that's a little better. And we'll come down a little bit more. Okay, good. So these cormorants, they usually have beautiful green eyes with this yellow beak. It's just such a nice, really nice color in their heads here. So I'm definitely going to bring those out. So let's try and get that. Oh, did I apply my preset yet? I did. Okay. Just checking. So let me come in nice and tight here. And we'll give a little push. A little bit of clear view. That's a bit much. Maybe there. Definitely a push on the micro contrast. And see if I can push the green just a little bit more. Doesn't look like it. But I'll try. I'll try and do that. I could probably do the same thing on the other eye. I'm going to just, don't forget there's a move zoom tool over here so I can quickly jump back and forth to different parts of the image. I think I'll apply the same thing. Let's do a little bit of vibrancy. Okay, let me check this side. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. All right. I wonder if I can AI select this tree. That's a tricky one, but let's try it. Let's create a new mask. Yeah, it's gonna Maybe with a rectangle tool. No, it's struggling a bit. So yeah, that's a tricky one. So let's try just an auto masking brush. And I don't have to be too precise. I mean, there can be a little bit of spill and overlap. It's okay. But I just want to give the tree a little more texture. So let's do micro contrast. There we go. And then push the highlights. Oops. Oh yeah, a little bit too much spill here. Maybe not do that. We'll just use the micro contrast. And how about some regular contrast? No. That's good. Now if I do want, let's say I do want to push the highlights and I'm getting this spill because, you know, I was kind of sloppy with the auto masking. I can go back and just push the Alt key on my computer, maybe adjust the size up, and then I can just negative, you know, wherever the spill is, like right in here, in there. Okay, that's good. So yeah, I can go ahead and just push. And again, I connect the dots and make a straight line here. I'm going to add a little warmth here. Just a little bit extra. Okay. Good. All right, now let's select the birds. So I'll probably have to do them separately. So I'm going to select that one. Just going to add some micro contrast. Maybe a touch of clear view. And then let's select the other bird. So I'll create a new mask and just kind of do the same thing. Some micro contrast and a touch of clear view. And maybe a little push in the shadows. Go back to the other bird. Yeah, nice little straight line there. Let's try to do the same thing here. Maybe a little more vibrancy. For each bird. Okay, so the background, let me see if the AI mask can pull this off. Yeah, not bad. It selected the tree too. So let me add a submask and just subtract the tree again, just using this. Actually, let's just do kind of a, just add it back in. And I'm just hitting the control key and rolling my mouse wheel to, you know, to make the mask, the brush smaller and bigger like that. But I just wanted to grab the background a little bit more. All right, and then just a little bit here. Whoops, too much. That's fine. Doesn't have to be that accurate. Okay. But I just want to, let's just pull it down just a bit. Not that much, dang it. Just a hair. So pull the blacks in. And the shadows. And let's add a little bit of warmth. I just want to give the background a little more contrast. No, we don't need that. Maybe less contrast. Okay, now the image overall just still feels a little bit off on the white balance, like too much green or something. Just do a little push. Let's try the eyedropper. Try over here. Oh, that's why there's green. So the birds are messing up the white balance. It's shifting it just a tiny bit green. Let me try a different color profile too. I think Portrait 2 takes a lot of the green out, as does Portrait 1. I just need some browns. All right, let's call it there. I got so many images to do today. Okay. So if we compare it to the original, I just cropped out this part, and again, this corner. With a tree, sometimes it's okay to leave a little bit of space, but I wanted to get in a little tighter, so I think this composition works pretty well. And I wish there was just a little more contrast against the background. Let me try one more thing. I'm going to go back to my local tool. I think this was the background, right? Let me try. What if I pull back the saturation? This is very subjective. And maybe. No. Okay, I'll call it there. Let's go ahead and check the fine detail. With geometry. So it looks like the focus point was on this bird here. Yeah, tiny bit of haloing that I could go back and correct. But other than that, I think that the fine details came out pretty good. Let's go over here. Yeah, just a tiny bit of haloing. So if this is a problem, what I typically do, because you can see there's a little bit of a halo here, right? This is a very, very common problem Let's see if we can, let's see which one is causing it. It's probably this mask. Yeah, it's the background mask. So what I'm going to do is just, let's not go so extreme on that, because it wasn't really that necessary to the image overall. But there, that's better. Anyway, you can see it did a really good job. Even on this one, even though it's slightly out of focus, it did a really good job. Okay, so, and the halo effect is also something I need to get better at myself. So I'll try and work on that on my own images, because I do see that time to time, even though it's not really noticeable when you back out and look at the overall image. Uh, it can bother some people like me. It bothers me when that happens. But okay, I think that looks pretty good. So just one last side-by-side look. Maybe a little more contrast would have been nice on this tree. But overall, it cleaned up very nicely. Okay, this one is from John Lloyd. Oh yeah, I remember this. You sent the JPEG last time, so let's see. Um, so I did my basic preset. Let's do a little bit of a crop. Maybe the bottom half, like so. And then let me select the gorilla, like so. And I'm going to add a little bit of brightness here. Let's do it this way. Let's push the highlights and the midtones and the shadows. A little bit on the blacks. Now it's starting to look like he was kind of cut and paste into the scene, right? So I'm going to go back to here and just kind of do the opposite. Or let's just try and do a little bit of a pull this way. Hold on. Okay. Go back to the gorilla. And then let's add a little warmth. All right, good. Now there's a couple of hot spots in here, right? Like this, this leaf and this leaf. And this is a little bit brighter than I want it to be. So I'm going to, let's make a new mask. And just do a control line here. Just a very tight one. And just pull the exposure down. Yeah, that's better. And the white balance, I'll come back to the overall white balance. I'm not sure. Let me not worry about white balance right now. And let's do another one. Let's just do a control point here. And let's subtract a little bit of luma and chroma. See if we can temper that highlight a bit. Still a bit too strong. So what I might do is, let's try. Let's feather this. Let's grab something over here on the same focal plane. All right. That's a little better. Okay. Let's do kind of the same thing here. Oh, that's a brush, sorry. New mask, control point. Let's pull the luma back and just pull the highlights, midtones. Maybe desaturate a tiny bit. All right, good enough. All right, now let me get to the animal. So those were kind of global changes. I mean, I know they were all local adjustments, but they just kind of affected the entire image. So I'm going to come in here, see if we can bring out the iris a bit. Add some clear view. Micro contrast, good, very good. I don't want his eyes to glow, right? Like that. I just want him to kind of look just enough to see the color. Maybe add a tiny bit of warmth. And let's spread this one out a bit. And some come back a little bit. All right. And then I'm just going to temper the highlights in the background. So let's make a new mask. Put one over here. A little bit tighter on the luma. Then, ooh, those are really bright. See if we can shift the color a bit. Okay. And let's add a vignette. Okay, now globally, the white balance is a little bit off for me. Make it warmer. And maybe just, let me just come in a bit tighter. Go back to my vignette. Go back to the gorilla. And a little contrast. Okay, I still don't like this one vine here. I think it was, yeah, it was this one. I use a healing brush. I'm going to turn the opacity down. A little less feathering. Let's just pull over here. Let's see. Looks like a face over here, doesn't it? Do you guys see that? Doesn't that look like somebody's face in the shot? Right here. That definitely looks like a face. That's kind of creepy. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Right here. Right here in this corner is somebody's face. So let me go back to my brush. I don't want to mask in somebody's face. Let me move this down. Okay, there we go. And let's crop it back to over here. Oops. I didn't crop that much. All right. All right, I think that works. So let's do a before and after. So this is without the crop, or this is with the crop on both sides. But if I compare it to without the crop, that was the original image. And this is my image on the right. But yeah, that's cool. God, look at that face right there. Looks like there's another one here kind of peeking over. It's all kinds of stuff going on. But we brushed that out. And I think this looks pretty good. I really like how that came out. Let me just look at it full screen here. I like that. There's a full screen button here somewhere. Yeah, that looks amazing. All right, very good. Thanks for sending the raw image in. Let's go to the next one. And we'll apply basic preset. And I'm going to do a little geometry correction because this corner here, right? This corner's straight, this corner's crooked. It's probably just because these are a bunch of old houses and stuff. That didn't help. I'll just do it by eye. Let me back this off a bit. Okay, and then let's composition. Let's get that corner out. I like this door being in the shot. I just wish it was a little bit more to the right. Okay, so we got about a third up here. I think that's it. This stick here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to save that. All right. I think that works. So I'm just going to emphasize the texture and colors in the stones. Try to temper the lighting here and emphasize the color of this boarded up door. So let me work with the highlights first. Make a little tighter luma. Again, it's always a connect the dots game for me over here. Just a straight line looks the most natural. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but I want the whites over here. So I'm going to tighten up both chroma because I don't want to affect the stones and the door too much, and the luma. And I just want to add a little brightening there. Okay, and then let's select this door. I'm going to hit the shift key and add a little bit more in. And let me just try vibrancy. Yeah, no, and some saturation. And then some micro contrast. So I love texture. Some regular contrast. And just a little bit more on the highlights. Okay. Let's do a similar thing to this door, but let's use a control point and just kind of brighten up this whole area. Tiny bit of clear view and micro contrast. Okay. And then I'll use another control point. Just do a little tighter chroma and luma and just crank up the saturation. And micro contrast. And then let's just add a little brightening up in here. We'll do the same thing down here and up there. All right. Very good. I want to just globally maybe push the greens a little bit. So let me come over here. Select. This is kind of a yellow. I think this is pretty green. Yeah. And let's push the reds a bit. Maybe the oranges. Yeah, right there. I'm going to go back to where's my highlight mask? This one, right? Yeah, it's not highlighting down here. So let's make a new mask. I just want to temper these greens a little bit. I'm going to pull them out down here. Okay, I think that's all that needs to be done. Maybe let me just do a quick. Yeah, I think that's all I would do. So just do a side by side. So just a little bit of perspective correction and crop, right? To get rid of this one side. Didn't really need that either. And then I tried to balance it on the right. So that's why I cut off a lot at the top, because I wanted this to be kind of balanced with this. And then this red door, I wish there was a little more space here. But overall, yeah, I think that came out pretty good. So we'll just do a slider just to check the fine details. Yeah, that looks really good. I really like how the rocks came out. Not so much down here. Oh, this could use this is wet. This could have used a little clear view. But anyway, yeah, I like separating the texture and the colors in whenever we have kind of stonework and brickwork. All right, very good. Let's go to the next one. And this one is from Detlef Bob. Oh, this is a new viewer here. So we have some really nice colors in the umbrellas and what they're wearing, and then of course in the coconuts down here. Just this building is a little crooked along with the fence lines, so we need to tilt a little bit. And then composition wise, I like how this area is framing the people working. And the sky we don't need so much. And this person's a little bit on the edge. Let's apply a basic preset. I'm going to try just a perspective. It's not going to figure it out. Yeah, there's too many vertical lines going in different directions, so we'll just have to just do this manually. Just tilt it. And I'm just using this edge here as a guide. Okay, I think that's good. And then let's see if we can balance this composition a little bit. Now this guy's being cut off because of the tilt, so we don't need that guy. I don't know if we really need that guy either, because he doesn't have any good colors. He's just wearing dark blue and gray and black, although I like his hat. Maybe right in here. And then let's balance this a bit. I need a little more tilt. So I have about 1/3 here in the foreground. I have the subjects here in the middle, and then it's not really a background, but there are different. I think that balance is a little better. And we still have the colors from here. It's just the balance is a little bit off on the left side. Maybe come in a bit. All right, that works for me. Because this here is interesting too. So many things going on here. All right, so we need to brighten up the people. Because the exposure everywhere else looks pretty good. We can maybe bring the sky in a bit. Let me just use a linear, not a linear, I'm sorry, control line. And we'll temper the highlights a bit. Add a little texture in there. Okay, that's good. And then let's try. I really need to brighten this area here. Let me think. And I want to bring out the textures here. Let me do that first. I think just a control line will be good. Just use some micro contrast. And let's go down here and desaturate a bit, but then crank up the vibrancy. See if I can get a little better separation. Not really. So I'm going to desaturate a bit, then selectively push the reds. Maybe spread that into the oranges. And then the greens. Shift them a little bit more green. And try some clear view in there. Okay. Good. All right. Okay, I want to brighten this area in here a bit. I'm not sure how to approach this. I think I'll stick with a control point. Do the same thing here. No. How about this guy? That guy's good. This guy in the middle needs his own. Because he's in the darkest. He's under the umbrella, so he's the darkest. So I need to do him a little bit differently. Okay. Okay. And then let's do his face. Okay. How about this guy? He kind of needs his own also. Just do a linear push there. And this person's got a plastic bag in their way. Okay. Oops. Let me do a different one. A little bit tighter on the chroma. Okay, good. All right, so the people, yeah, the people look a little bit more balanced now. Okay, and then let me do a couple other things. Let's just separate this a bit more. And let's add a little bit more light in here. Okay. All right, now let me go over here to the global colors. I'm going to try portrait. Yeah, portrait 2 looks pretty good. And let's go down here to the reds. Let's make it a little tighter. And just crank those up. And this is not really green. It's kind of a green blue. But that's good. All right. Let's see where we're at. Okay, I think that's good. So I might temper the highlights here a little bit. Let's do that with a control point. Oops, we need a new mask. Sorry. New mask. I'm going to put this on the brightest parts. And tighten up the luma. Just pull those in a bit. A little contrast. Let's do a little bit in here too. Let's push the highlights. Maybe not that one. What this thing? No. All right, let's call it there. Just need, let me just do a quick smart lighting. I'm gonna back this off a little bit. And then this one guy's face. I'm gonna back this off a bit. You see if I move this up just a tiny bit. And okay. All right, let's do a side by side. Okay, I like it. I think that works pretty well. Not 100% happy with how I did the coconuts back here, but I do like what I did up here, just giving a little more separation. But these coconuts, yeah, they just need a little more contrast. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Let's just check the fine detail. Not that it's that critical in an image like this, but I think that came out pretty good. Okay. Let me go to the next one. This one is from John. Sorry, I have a little distraction over here. 1 second. Okay, let's work on this one from John. I'm going to just take a little sip here. Okay. Apply basic preset. And let's do a vertical like that. Let's see. I kind of like this background too, though. Maybe do it this way. Let's try 5x4. A little bit tighter. This composition is tricky. Because I like the tree line back here better. But this is not bad either. Sorry, I'm really struggling with the composition here. But maybe I think I'll stick with this side. Let's go with this. Okay. Exposure wise, let's just temper up here. And let me cool it off a bit. No. Okay. I'm going to go to the AI mask tool. I'm going to select this group of people here. Like a new mask. Didn't quite get it all, so I'm just going to create a submask. Okay, good. Let's add a full stop there and pull off about a stop there. Go back here. Just a little push in the shadows, a touch of clear view, and a little micro contrast. Okay, and then let me see if I can bring out the textures in this tree a little bit. And the white balance, a little bit less green. Okay. Then let's do some control points down here. Try and separate these yellows a bit. Might be a bit too much. Okay. And then let's try to do the things, same thing with some of these oranges. So control point here, a little bit tighter. Okay. Now, let me just work on the sidewalk. I think I'll just use a brush. Just pull this in a bit. Okay. Then a dapple of light on the dog. Maybe just temper the highlights here a bit, if possible. Not really. They're already kind of clipped. And I think that's it. So I just kind of like the vertical trees. That's why I kind of went with a more vertical or portrait orientation to make the trees feel a little bit taller. And then just bringing the family on the left into the frame a little bit more. I think that worked out pretty well. We can check the fine detail, although they're really far out there. But it did clean up the noise quite a bit. Yeah, that's definitely better. Got rid of all that softness. Okay, very good. All right, let me check the chat section before we go to the next image. What am I on now? I've only done 5, 6, 7, 8, so I'm about halfway through. Okay, so let's see. Oh, thank you, Adrian. Man, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the support there. Really, really appreciate that. Let's see. And would you consider using flower detection for the tree? Oh, that's an interesting idea. Sometimes it works for trees. Maybe. I never even thought of that. We can try that real quick. That's a good tip. Let's see. Watch it. It's going to crash the computer though, right? But let's try it. Let's make a new mask. Flowers. No, didn't work. Okay, good idea though. I'll have to try that in the future though. That's a good idea. They should come up with a remove tool. Yeah, I bet they're not far behind. I mean, it can already select subjects. So the next step to remove that particular object that it selected would be to extrapolate, you know, content aware type subtraction. I think that would be their next step. Ah, you've been watching creepy videos and you see the face. Yep. I know, right? Nature definitely have more faces than we realize. I try to find them sometimes. Yep. And the brain tries to find faces. That's true. Never ever saw any spam or advertisement in 7-zip. Okay. I will definitely try and do that for you after the stream. So I saw it a lot on Windows. That's just why I stick to WinRAR. Okay. You guys are... We'll see what happens. I'll do it after the stream. I don't want to do it during the stream. Goes back, flight or fight instinct, and landscape. You must be referring to the one I just did. Maybe. I just prefer vertical for the taller tree look. And Ian is here. Good to see you, Ian. Yesterday I took a sequence of dragonfly landing using ProCrap to show people I export JPEG to iPhoto and DxO9. They arrive in iPhoto out of sequence. I cannot help you with iPhones, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know anything about iPhones or Apple in general. And that is mine. You can skip it. Oh, too late. I already did it, but I appreciate it. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one is really dark, so let's apply a preset. This is yours, Tom. I'll just be very, very quick on yours. Let me just brighten this up so I can see what's in the frame. Wow, that's really dark. I think you were trying to save the highlights. But yeah, there is very little to recover here. I like this greenish yellow, but oh, and this is a JPEG. That's why I can't pull the exposure up. Let's just do a black and white and just exaggerate the contrast here. We need okay, I think that's all I'm going to do here. Yeah, a little banding up here. I think a slight crop would work. A 16:9 crop. Just to get rid of that sky. Even a 16:7 would look good. Just need to balance it a little bit. Okay, pretty straightforward. I like the contrast, and I like the geometry all around this this image. There's a lot of potential here. I think maybe a bracketed shot, you know, to bring in all the different tones here from bright to dark might be ideal for this shot. So if you get a chance to go back there, if that's something you can do, maybe try that. And I think a nice wide shot like this would work for this, even tighter, a full 65:24, and just get rid of that one thing. Even something like that is kind of interesting. Just you know, I like architecture and geometry, so I kind of like these different shapes all in the image. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's see. Here's one from One of One. This is Ethan. Looks like somebody's garage. A little bit of flaring here. I like this. I like these steps going into, I like everything in this image. There's a lot of interesting things. But it's just kind of unbalanced a little bit for me. Let me apply basic preset. And this is a JPEG, so I'm going to have very little latitude when it comes to exposure and white balance. But let me saturate it just a bit more. I'll try and warm this up a bit, just to give it kind of an old-timey feel. And then let's let's give it a real kind of old-timey feel with just a little more contrast and clear view. And I'm going to try a perspective thing. No, but I definitely want to crop a little bit. I like this light source here on the left side. I just wish more of the door was included. Maybe a wider shot. But if I do this, that's not going to work. I think that works right there. Okay, so let's do a before and after. And I think yeah, I like the saturation and higher contrast for this kind of image. And then just bringing out the textures with some micro contrast. And that works pretty well. So there's my final edit. And cranking up the saturation to bring out all the different colors. I really like it. That's actually a really, really good shot. I like it because there's just enough clutter there, but not so much, right? It's organized, so it doesn't look like a messy garage. It's very well maintained, but it's just been there forever. It's probably since the 50s or 40s, it looks like. That's a great shot. Okay, let's see this one. Let's apply basic preset. And maybe, let me see what the geometry or perspective does. No. Let's apply that, but back it way off. And then I'm going to check the pretty good job centering everything. We just have a little bit of a let me see, how do I want the corners to be? I think, wow, you really did a good job centering. And as far as an architectural shot go, this is really good in terms of technique. But this side I can't come in too much. Let me back this off. I guess we don't need this. You really, really, you could get a job as an architectural photographer. This has really good geometry in it. It's just a little bit off though. Just a tiny bit. But if you were doing this handheld, you did a really good job. Okay. Let's come up. All right. I'm going to go with this. And then we have lots of marble in here and textures, but a really strong flare. Let's see if we can motivate some of the light just a bit. So I'm gonna select a couple of control points. Maybe here and here. And then here and here. Let's add some micro contrast. Okay. And how about in the center there? Good. Do some there. Oh, this is yours, X Meta. Yeah. That you did a good job. Let me try a little vibrancy. Just a touch more saturation. But I want to push. Let me pull the yellows back a little bit. And the greens. And then let's push the reds a bit. Okay, good. And we need a little more texture. Okay, good. All right, wow, we did a lot with just one mask. All right, let's try another one for the windows. Let's tighten up the luma just a bit. Okay. So you're curious about the noise and ray of light. Okay, there's not much noise in this image. I mean, in the shadows, if I were to bring those up a lot, which I will need to. So I probably overdid it with the, I think I overdid it with the clear view here. Let's just back this off a little bit. Okay. Maybe, okay. And using the same control point, let me get in here a bit. Okay. All right. I think we can use this control point again for these paintings. And then let me use a brush. Very low flow here, 10%. And I'm going to come in. Oh, there's a person here. Definitely going to highlight them. But I just want to bring out just a tad more light. Okay. Like so. Oh, that one's too strong. Just a little bit here. Come in here. Just bring some light. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. I think that's it. So I need to work on the fine detail a bit because it's just a tiny bit soft. It's a good old Pentax K20. Wow. Um, so let me just try. I'm gonna have to definitely use a bigger radius. But let me bring in some here. There we go. That's looking good. How about this corner? Because this is a very low pixel camera, right? Like what's this? 12 or 15 or 16 megapixel looks like. So I'm going to increase the radius a bit. All right, good. And then let's go over here and do some micro contrast, just kind of everywhere. And push the speculars again. Maybe add a little warmth or let me try. Yeah, I think vibrant. Vibrant looks good. And all right, let's call it there. So there's the before. And let's do it without, yeah, that's without geometry. So yeah, XMeta, you did a really good job with the initial capture, geometrically speaking. And you said you did this handheld, so I'm pretty impressed. But I think in terms of noise and detail, I think we are pull out quite a bit. So let's just do a split and just come in here. Yeah, I did a really good job. I mean, it's kind of a low res shot with a really wide angle lens, right? So you're not going to get a lot of pixels or detail. But I think for what we got, yeah, that looks really good. We got a really lot of nice texture in the marble, in the crowning here. It came out really nice. All right, let's go to the next one. So this one's from, doesn't say, my beloved mom. Mom with her beloved robotic dog. Interesting. So let's see. Let's apply basic preset. Let's do, oh, this is a JPEG, so let's just do a little warmth. I can't do too much with JPEGs, but I just want to give it a little more drama. Need a little more warmth. Maybe try portrait. Yeah, that I like the color of that. And then a slight crop and tilt. Let's see. A little bit of pull on the highlights. And then maybe even be I think what we need is just a control line over here. And let's select just the highlights. A little bit there. Go back. All right. So I just made it a little bit warmer and darkened it a little bit. That's all. It's about all I can do with a JPEG, really. But it's beautiful, beautiful shot. And then a slight tilt, right? Just to make it look more level. But yeah, I think that came out pretty good. Beautiful, beautiful pictures, very touching. And this is why we do photography, right? For images exactly like that one. All right, let's see. Um, we have a cityscape. Let me apply basic preset. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we'll just use a control line for the highlights. Maybe some clear view. A little bit of warmth. Some micro contrast. And then let's do another control line down here. And lots of clear view here, some vibrancy. Just I like very rich colors in my photos. Need a slight horizon tilt. Just about. Like that. And we'll just auto crop that one. Oh, crap. That's not what I wanted. Let's try that again. Somewhere in here. Okay. And maybe temper the highlights a bit for that control line. Where's the dropper? Let's put the dropper on these brighter areas. I think that's it. So let's just do a quick comparison. So yeah, these trees aren't framing too well, so I just cut them out basically and focused on the colors and geometry of the cityscape and then brought out the textures in the sky. And then we can do a split view with geometry and just see how we did on the fine details. I could sharpen just a tiny bit more, but I don't think it's really needed for this shot. But I think it did a good job overall. because there's a lot of atmospheric distortion. So, you know, sharpening this too much would just make it look even worse. It would distort the atmospheric distortions more. But I think that came out really good. All right, that was an easy one. Okay. Let's see. We have, how did this tree get so red? Did somebody just paint it? Or is it lit up? I can't figure that one out. That's very unusual. So let's just do a basic preset and maybe just a vertical. Although I like this little tree here. I wonder if I can include that. Okay. I don't know if I can temper these reds at all. Just a little. Maybe pull it back just a tiny bit. And then go to the greens. Saturate that. And let's saturate this one little tiny tree down here. So I'm going to drop the control point on sort of the brownish. And let's tighten up the chroma. And saturate that one just a bit. Okay, and then we need to temper the highlights in the snow a bit. And then see if we got anything we can recover in the sky. So I'll put the dropper on the bright part here. Tiny bit there, and yeah, not much I can do there. Okay, let's see where we're at. I think we have some chromatic aberrations here too, so let's go back here and see if we can that didn't help much. Let's go back to this control line. We'll select the greens and just desaturate that. Okay, that's better. All right. Okay, I think that's all I can do there. So there's the original, right? Just a horizontal crop. And then I just wanted this little tree next to this evergreen, but it's red. It's weird. Yeah, that is the strangest thing I've ever seen. Because if it was lit up by light, I would expect, well, it is kind of glowing into the background, but then, wow, this is crazy. I can't figure this one out. I'd like to see this in person. I'm very curious. But I wasn't able to do much because of the really high dynamic range of this scene. You know, we have basically clipped highlights, top and bottom, and then clipped, these reds are definitely clipped completely to red. Because you can clip colors, right? Just like you can clip highlights and shadows. So there was a lot of issues here. I'm not sure how I would capture this. I'd have to see it in person to see what I would do differently in person. But that's a really interesting photo technically speaking, it's very, very interesting. The clipping between the reds, the highlights, the shadows, and how this was actually illuminated. I can't figure that out. It's really strange. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's from Paul. Paul and I are going to get together next week. I think he's flying in from the UK. And he's going to be in New York and then come down to DC, and we're going to get together. So let's apply basic preset and just come in a little tighter off the top. Maybe a slight tilt. Just too much in the top. Okay, I like that. Yeah, right there. The eyes are really well illuminated. I think it just needs a little bit of contrast. And touch a clear view. And then let's select the background and just temper that a bit. And we'll just use a control point and add some vibrancy in this area. Maybe a little saturation right about there. And then let's just check the fine detail. Man, this is the 150 to 400. This better be sharp, because it is. We'll just add, excuse me, just a little bit in the unsharp mask. Maybe temper these highlights a bit. So let me go back to this mask. Expand that out and pull the highlights in. Okay. Didn't come in as much as I wanted. Let me just do it this way. A little tighter Luma. Oh, not that tight. Okay. So, pretty straightforward. I think this is a penguin because it's standing up. And we can look at the fine detail differences. It made quite a bit of difference, right? That optics module, I mean, look at the fine hairs here near his eye. They're just so much better in the iris. My God. That looks really good. All right. Let's do the next one here. Oh, you know, I just realized I didn't click this optics module. So on this image, so let me do that real quick. Well, you'll see a difference, I think, because if we look at the detail now, we'll probably get even more detail with the optics module. So let me do that real quick. Sorry about that, Xmeta. The 12 to 24 is probably the Pentax one, right? So let's do that. Okay. Okay, so now I don't need to do so much unsharp mask. But there we go. It's probably not something you can see in the stream, but it's definitely a little better with the optics module installed. All right, sorry about that. So let me go over here, because when I went to this one, I just realized, oh, Tom, you have the raw image here. Okay. Ooh, let me open this up. This is the 14 to 42 f3.5. Oh, this kit lens. Okay. So is it the, let me see which kit lens it is. It's the, okay, it's not the easy version. So we need to select 14 to 42. Which version is this? 14 to 42 is the early version. Okay. Yeah, sometimes DxO can't figure out which lens you put, so I'm going to take a guess. It's not the version 2. It might be this one. It's the DxO 14 to 42L. All right, here it is. This is the one we want. Okay. So this is a JPEG. So we're going to be somewhat limited again with the highlights and shadows and things. Let's go. I like the gold though. We just need to square crop this and center it, I think. Like this. Then let's see if we can, we're gonna have to use the unsharp mask to bring out some of the details, but I'm gonna need a bigger radius. Yeah, right about there, perfect. And then let's try some clear view. Micro contrast, and just give a little push here. And then for color, see how vibrant. Yeah, I like vibrant. And I don't think the highlights, yeah, the highlights are gone, so I think that's it. Okay, so let's do a side by side. So basically I just centered it, right? And added some contrast. I think it looks pretty good. And the optics module, you'll notice that it will bring out more detail. I mean, I know I did some unsharp mask and stuff. We should probably apply a little bit of noise reduction. I'm seeing some JPEG artifacts. So I'm gonna go here. We don't have AI noise reduction, but we have kind of this. I think we just need a tad there. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Really neat clock. All right, and then we have one here from Jeff. Um, I love this tree. And this path. And there's some little bit of vignetting here in the corners. Let's apply basic preset. Okay, that fixed the vignetting. I'm trying to think of a composition here. So I like, you know how I am about my corners. I don't like this corner here and this corner here too much. Okay, we're going to go with that. Wow. I don't know if I can do just a little bit here. Clear view and contrast. No, natural looks best to me. Let's select some of these leaves here. These leaves they look green, but they're pulling up kind of yellowish. Let's increase that and maybe pull the luminance down a bit. And then some fine detail. Let's see. I think we're good. A little bit of texture in a tree, I think, is all we need. Let's do AI tool. Let's try the flower thing one more time. Nope. I'm just going to use the pointer tool. Let's pull the highlight just a bit and give it some micro contrast. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit there. And then overall, tiny bit more warmth. All right, so there's the before and after. Pretty straightforward. Just warmed it up basically and cropped. But what dictated the overall crop was just my corners. This tree just didn't balance well in the frame with this tree. This one's not quite right either, but because this tree is behind this giant bush, it's a little tricky. And then I just used this to frame, you know, the bottom of the image. All right, very good, very good. Lots of nice detail though. Let's see. Okay, so Tom, I have the raw here. I'm just going to do the same thing I did before, but just with the raw image. So we'll just straighten that. Let's back that off a bit. Right about there. I'll just do a quick edit. And the white balance, maybe one of these blocks. Okay. Is this a fisheye? It's a 15 millimeter. So why am I getting... I feel like there's still some barrel distortion here. Because this line is a little bit bent here. Oh, I didn't download the optics module. That's why. Let me go back here. Here we go. I was like, why isn't this correcting? Because I know it has the 15 millimeter in there. There we go. All right, now we should be... Yeah, now that looks right. Okay, so we'll start over. Let's just do a quick one on this one. And then it's a little bit too magenta. Where's that coming from? I think it's because of these lights, these tungsten and fluorescent lights being mixed together is messing up the white balance. But let's go back to super wide and come in and center this right there. Maybe yeah, now that we can see more, I feel like we should keep this tower or the second floor. Okay. And let's just select this window. We select this. And spread this light a bit. Same thing there. Maybe not that one. Let's do this one a little differently. Okay, we're almost there. This brickwork. And then just all right, let me see where we're at. The crop is still not right. But I think this is where I'm going to go. So that's the original on the left. And here's the edit on the right. And this would work just as well as a black and white, I think. If I just do a quick convert. I mean, that looks pretty good as a black and white too. But okay. And then obviously the fine detail is going to be, there's going to be a huge difference here. You know, particularly, you can see it right here and in the brickwork, the difference. Okay, but yeah, it kind of works both ways as a black and white or a color, I think. But I think I prefer the black and white. All right, let's see. Really nice, this pole is a problem. And this corner, so let's apply basic preset. And let's see what we can get away with on a crop. If we put this in the center, I don't know. This pole is bothering me. All right, there we go. All right, perfect. And let's try. Let's stick with natural. Let me just darken this scene overall a bit, and then we'll add the light back in with just some simple control points, I think. Oops. Add a little bit here. A little bit here. Okay. Check the detail here. All right, let's see if we can bring a little texture out. So I'll use a control line. Not this. Let's move the dropper up here. With some micro contrast. Okay, and then this light down here is a little distracting. Mm. Spread that a bit. And let's go back to my little control points. Let's see. And color-wise, let's just desaturate a little bit. All right, where are we at? Okay. Hmm. Okay, I think that's where I'll land. So, yeah, the 16:9 crop, or whatever this was, 16:7, I think. Primarily just to get rid of this pole. I could brush it out with a healing brush, but uh, there's nothing down here anyway, so I think this crop is fine. And then just a little more contrast on the lighting. And that's it. So we can check the fine details here. And we'll do it with geometry. Oh yeah, much better. Yep, that looks good. All right, cool shot. Really nice colors. I think if I had a choice though, it looks like maybe a car is pulling in and creating this light here. I'm not sure. But this light over here, if it's a car, I would have waited for the car to go by or whatever is causing this light. If the light is from like another building or something, then yeah, it's not much you can do. But this light in the corner is just it's in the frame that's creating sort of some curiosity. What is causing that light, at least for me, and taking attention away from, right in here. So, all right, I think we're all set. That was an awesome set. Thank you so much for sending your images in for me to edit. Hopefully you picked up a few ideas and a few tips, and uh, I'll see what 7-zip. Let me see if I have it. If you're still here, I can check 7-zip. 7-zip is a file archiving thing. I don't have it though. I have to download it. But if you just want to see what my hardware is, I can show you that from my system settings. System information, right? It's coming up. So Dan says, yes, emergency vehicles, also red, blue light in the tunnel. Oh, I see. That makes sense. So you were using the red light from the emergency vehicles and you can't really avoid the headlights, right? Coming in. That's interesting. Okay, I have my system information pulled up here. I just want to make sure there's no personal information. Yeah, all right. I think I can show you this screen. Uh, but yeah, I have, ignore this email. I never check it. But anyway, 12 gig graphics card. This doesn't really show you everything though. This is an RTX 4080 for laptop, 24 gig of RAM and a 13th gen Intel i9. So that gives you some information. I don't know if you needed more than that. I just don't see anything. But I'll look at 7-zip and post that a screenshot to my community tab. But again, thanks everyone for sending your images. I'll be back again next week on Friday. Wow, this one was a long one today, right? Almost 3 hours. But there's a lot of images. I'll try and get through them faster, but you guys tell me if you want me to go faster, I can. But some people like it when I slow down and kind of walk through the different things I'm doing, and then other people just want to see the edits. So I don't know. If I have the energy, like I had some good energy today to get through almost 3 hours, I'll go through every image that you guys send me. Otherwise, sometimes I have to stop and split it and save some for next week. But in any case, you guys have a great weekend. Have a good day, a good life, and eat healthy exercise, okay? So we'll see you again. I'll be back